Am I the for refusing to raise my husband's children from the affair he had while we were still married, even after he and the woman he cheated with tragically passed away, leaving their kids orphaned? Everyone's calling me heartless, but I can't be the one to pick up the pieces of a life I was never meant to be part of. I'm a 45-year-old woman, and my husband, 49, had been cheating on me with a 20-year-old since 2020. I found out earlier this year when the other woman gave birth to twin boys in March. Naturally, we were heading for divorce. The process dragged on because we had shared property and had to bring in an accountant. He'd been using our joint funds to finance the affair. Just when things were nearing the end, both my husband and the woman he cheated with died in a car crash. Miraculously, the twins survived without injury. Now they're orphaned, and neither set of grandparents can take them in long term. My husband's parents are in assisted living, and he had no siblings. His one aunt, who's been child-free by choice, refused to take them. I don't know the full details on the woman's side, but her parents also can't care for them, and her only sister lives overseas. Since we were still legally married and he hadn't updated his will, all his assets go to me and our 2 daughters. I'm not heartless. I agreed to let the boy's legal guardian have whatever was left in the joint account, around $25,000 in savings. The issue is that no one wants to raise the twins. Now, my in-laws are pressuring me to take them in. But the truth is, I don't want to. I wouldn't be able to love them. I'd resent them. They'd always remind me of the betrayal. I'd probably favor my daughters. It's not the baby's fault, but I loved my husband deeply, and I thought we were happy until I found out. We have 2 daughters, 14 and 16. Before the affair, we had the usual disagreements, but never insulted each other. After I found out, he turned cruel, started blaming me, calling me names, and even tried to force me out of my childhood home, which is mine alone. Now I'm raising teenagers on my own. I don't have the energy for babies. My daughters hate their baby half-brothers. I tried to get them to reconnect with their dad during the divorce, but they refused. The babies were the smoking gun. I couldn't hide the truth, and they're old enough to understand. Most of my friends think I shouldn't be the one to care for those children. But my in-laws, the other woman's parents, and even my own mother are pushing me to take them. I think my mom just wants more grandkids, but it still hurts that she won't support my decision. I have to make a final call by next week or the boys will enter foster care. Right now, they're staying temporarily with their maternal grandparents. I feel awful, but I know I'm not the one to raise them. Small update. Hey everyone, this got way more attention than I expected. Thank you for the kind words, for my girls, the twins, and myself. And to the generous people who offered to help, your compassion means more than you know. I might not be their mom, but it gives me hope seeing people step up like that. After a lot of thought, discussions with my lawyer, and reading through your responses, I've decided to speak to the grandparents and formally decline guardianship. I'll pass along the usernames of people who offered help with fostering or adoption. My daughters are my priority. It's up to the grandparents now, whether they want to pursue adoption, keep the boys, or surrender them to the state. I wish I had the emotional strength to do more, but I don't. My girls lost their father. They need therapy. They're on the cusp of college. They don't need to see me raise the children of the woman who blew our family apart. I'm also working with lawyers to figure out whether the boys have a claim to any inheritance. If they do, I'll ensure it's legally protected for them. If not, I'll still make sure they receive the $25,000 I promised. But I won't go beyond that. I don't believe I'm morally or legally obligated to do more. Maybe that makes me cold, but I have to protect my children. I can't save everyone. Now, on to the next story. Story 2. My stepmother emotionally abused my fiancé's younger brother, and it's tearing our family apart right before our wedding. Original post had a trigger warning for child mistreatment. It's not graphic, but still painful. I tried to share this before, but it didn't go through. This will be my last try. Names are changed for privacy. I'm a 28-year-old man. My stepmother, 49, is a wannabe party planner who's inserted herself into every holiday and family gathering since marrying my dad. I never liked those events growing up. She's controlling and snaps at anyone who criticizes her, but I went along with it for my dad's sake. He says it makes her feel included. I'm engaged to Jane, 26. We were supposed to marry in 2021, but she got pregnant a few months later. We decided to delay the wedding and focus on our son. So, it's been a long engagement. Since day one, my stepmother has tried to take over the wedding, calling the planner, showing up at dress fittings uninvited, complaining about decisions we've made. We've asked her to back off multiple times. My dad says to just humor her, but she's clearly bitter she's not planning the event or listed as mother of the groom. Aside from our son, Jane and I are also raising her half-brother Luke, 4. She got custody of him a few months after we started dating, after both his parents passed. I moved in with them during the pandemic, and I've been in Luke's life since he was a baby. He doesn't call me dad, but we treat him like our son. My stepmother despises Luke. She's accused Jane of using him to trap me, accusations that only got worse after our biological son was born. My dad adores the kids and treats them like family, but my stepmother insists he stop babysitting Luke. We don't leave the kids with my dad and stepmom very often. Usually, Jane's brother and sister-in-law watch them, since their kids are close in age to ours. But last Sunday, we had plans and Jane's brother was out of town with his family. Her other siblings live in different cities, and so do my mom and sister. My dad agreed to watch the kids at our place, so we left them with him. When we got back, both kids were crying, my stepmother was screaming, and my dad was barely trying to calm things down. Apparently, Luke had told her that he and our son were going to be our ring bearers. She lost it, screaming that she wouldn't allow it because he wasn't family. Then she physically hurt him. He started crying, his lip was split, and I knew I had to add a trigger warning if I ever shared this. She's never gone that far before. We immediately banned her from our home and the wedding. My dad was furious and said he wouldn't come without her. Worse, he downplayed everything she did and convinced half of his side of the family to boycott our wedding. That includes my stepbrother, who sides with his mom no matter what. I've tried explaining the truth, but he won't listen. Jane and I aren't changing our minds. A bunch of my cousins who decided not to come have asked us to reconsider, but we won't. Jane's family has been supportive, though one of her aunts suggested maybe my stepmother lashed out because she doesn't feel accepted by my family. I'm just done with everyone making excuses for her. I love my dad and I want him at the wedding. But if I have to choose between him and protecting my family, I'll walk away without hesitation. Edit. I realize I left out part of the story. We did press charges. We took Luke to the pediatrician the next day and documented everything. We had photos of his injuries, and by a stroke of luck, our nanny cam caught some of what happened. She wasn't even supposed to be at our house. My dad rarely goes anywhere without her, so we'd taken precautions. We didn't think she'd actually do something this horrible, but we've never trusted her with the kids. The camera didn't catch the actual assault, but it did record her yelling and Luke crying before and after. She now has a child abuse charge on her record. We weren't going to let her walk away from this. Edit 2. I've gotten way more responses than expected, and I'll try to reply to as many as I can. For now, I just want to say that Luke is okay. We took him to the doctor the next day. He already had a counselor. Jane was worried he might be affected by her own trauma after losing her parents. He's doing better now, and we've been giving him extra love and comfort. Update 1. Thank you to everyone who read and commented. It's been a hard week, but it means a lot to know people care. I can't reply to every comment, but here's a general update. Jane and I are going no contact with my dad and stepmom. We haven't spoken to either of them since it happened, and we don't plan to. My younger sister, who's completely on our side, is handling any necessary communication. She's staying low contact for now. I'm following Jane's philosophy, forgive only if there's a sincere apology, but never forget. If my dad and stepmom ever truly own what they did, we'll consider forgiving them, but they'll never be allowed near Luke or any future kids, even if forgiveness comes. As for the rest of my family, many people suggested I share the photos or nanny cam footage with them. I'm not very active online, and even if I were, I wouldn't post photos of my injured preschooler. And I'm not sharing them with family unless absolutely necessary. While my family loves my dad, most of them don't like my stepmom. She had 2 failed marriages before him, and my stepbrother is from her first. She cheated on her ex to be with my dad, and everyone loved his ex, so they disliked my stepmom from the start. She's always been manipulative and tried to force herself into the matriarch role by taking over every family event. That's why I hated those parties growing up. She always made everything about her, even Christmas and our birthdays. Most relatives tolerated it, but nobody liked her. Things changed when Luke came along. Most of my family didn't meet him until after COVID restrictions eased. He was all ready too. He's a sweet, bright kid, and everyone adored him. I think my stepmom was jealous that Jane and Luke were accepted by my family so easily, while she never was. She hated being excluded from the wedding plans too. We had already chosen roles. Jane's best friend was officiating, my best friend was my best man, and Jane's niece was the flower girl. Her 15-year-old niece, not someone we really know, was never an option. My stepmom tried to pressure us into giving her roles, including having my dad walk Jane down the aisle. But Jane had already asked her oldest brother to do that. She kept making bitter comments, like how none of this would have happened if she were in charge. But nothing excuses hurting a child, not even petty jealousy. Since I'm not talking to my dad, my sister's been updating me. Apparently, he and my stepmom are telling the family a totally twisted version of events, saying we banned them just because we were annoyed with her. They left out everything about Luke's injury and the abuse charge. Thankfully, when I explained what really happened, most of the relatives we actually care about apologized and are now calling out my dad. The ones who didn't believe us, or who said we were overreacting, are no longer welcome in our home. Most of them are older relatives, and I can't say I'm shocked they'd take his side. The fact that they're willing to support a woman they've always disliked just to make my dad happy, even after she hurt a child, tells me everything I need to know. My stepbrother still refuses to believe any of it. I get it, he loves his mom, but that doesn't excuse his denial. He's no longer welcome in our lives either. We were close as kids, but I don't regret cutting ties. Besides, Jane has 3 siblings, Bill, her twin, and a younger sister, and I'm closer to them than I ever was to him. Jane's family has been amazing. They're furious about what happened and have done everything they can to support us. Her extended family basically adopted Luke after she got custody, and they've been checking in constantly. Thanks to all the people we uninvited, we saved some money and decided to use it to fly in Jane's cousin from overseas, someone we really wanted at the wedding who couldn't afford the trip. Luke is almost fully back to being his cheerful self. The split lip was minor and is healing slowly, no stitches needed. We recently sat him down and explained that my dad and stepmonster won't be around anymore. He was close to my dad, but he understands that they're a package deal. He's still scared of her, but we're doing everything we can to make him feel safe. We've reassured him that he's family, we love him deeply, and no one can ever change that. I'm honestly not too worried about my dad or stepmom crashing the wedding, but we still gave the venue their photos, just in case. Better safe than sorry. A few people pointed out the hypocrisy of SM claiming Luke isn't family. I completely agree. Her go-to excuse for everything is that she never felt welcomed by my family. And for as long as I can remember, Dad has guilt-tripped me into including her in everything by bringing that up. He's always making excuses for her, without realizing he's being totally hypocritical, especially considering Luke is actually family. That's what finally made me realize that, even though I love my dad, it's not healthy or safe for me and my family to keep him in our lives. It really hurts knowing my son won't have his only biological grandfather around, but he's got 2 amazing step-grandpas who more than make up for it. I'm sad, but I've made peace with how everything's turned out. I don't like to complain my life's messy, but it's also beautiful. I love my fiancé, I love my kids, and I'm lucky enough to love my job. We're happy, and I'm not letting anyone ruin that. For those who were annoyed at my censorship when I posted on AITA, sorry, that was Jane's suggestion. I'm still new to Reddit and might have gone overboard. Hopefully this is my final update on all of this, but I'll keep you posted. Thank you again for all the love and support. Some background. The only reason I know SM hit Luke just that once is because it was the only time she was with the kids without supervision. Jane and I were always around before, and whenever Luke saw her, she avoided being alone with him. My dad only babysat a few times, and my sister, who lived with them then, assured me Luke was never out of her sight. I trust her completely. But whether it was once or not, there won't be a second time. She's never getting near either of my kids again. As for the wedding vendors, we've had password protection in place since the beginning. Some early ones even suggested it. SM did contact our planner claiming she had permission to coordinate, but the planner checked with us first. After that, we tightened up security even more. Someone asked if SM is facing jail time for attacking a child and if we press charges. We're hopeful. The arraignment date is being set. We're saving every text, voicemail, and attempt she or her supporters make to reach out. Anyone backing her is either spying for her or trying to manipulate us. We're keeping records of everything in case she escalates. We've also notified Luke's daycare and school. SM is not to receive any information or access. We're planning to install audio-capable security cameras too. Our dad may seem harmless, but she definitely isn't. To those who asked if I'd allow Dad and SM at the wedding if they apologized, absolutely not. They are 100% not welcome, no matter what they offer. They could gift me an island, and it still wouldn't change anything. Forgiveness, if it ever happens, is a distant future thing, and even then, they won't be near our kids for a very long time. Honestly, I doubt SM will ever show real remorse. In Update 2, I know it's disappointing, but it's likely SM won't face much legal punishment. Jane and I are working with our lawyer to decide what to do next. We are, however, moving forward with a restraining order. We're using nanny cam footage and photos of Luke as evidence, and we're focusing on that for now. I still haven't spoken to my father. My sister, who's low contact with him, is seriously considering going no contact. She's the only one he still talks to, and he keeps asking if I've calmed down. According to her, he's frustrated that half the family won't speak to him, but still won't acknowledge why. I told her she doesn't need to be his messenger. I never asked her to, and it's clearly affecting her. She says she'll stop when she's ready. Just to be clear, there's zero doubt SM hurt Luke. He told us the moment we got home, and even my dad admitted it when trying and failing to defend her. He didn't hide it, he even gave Luke an ice pack. That's literally the only decent thing he did. SM was too busy yelling about how Luke was a whining brat to even deny it. To those who guessed SM is younger than my dad, yep. She's 5 years younger than his previous girlfriend. They got together when I was around 15. Her son is only a month older than me. She's turning 50 this year, had him at 21, and married his dad the next year. The kids are mostly okay. Luke's back to running around in his Superman costume when he's not doing anything else. He's had a few nightmares and wanted to sleep in our bed twice. We don't mention my dad around him, and he's still in counseling. Our 14-month-old just learned hi and bye, and Luke's trying to teach him his name. Jane's sister is visiting soon for her 21st birthday, and Luke's super excited. Jane's looking forward to having a few drinks, can't blame her. We're hoping the visit lifts everyone's spirits. But right now, Jane and I aren't doing so great. Jane's been crying herself to sleep almost every night since it happened. She's usually the type to bottle things up, so seeing her break down hurts. I can't help but blame myself. Even if I couldn't have known what would happen, I did let my dad be around the kids, knowing SM might show up. I've never felt guilt like this, and I don't think I'll ever fully forgive myself. Jane's doing a little better and keeps encouraging me to see a therapist. I've never done that aside from seeing a psychiatrist as a teen, but maybe now's the time. Some folks have told me to forgive Dad and SM and invite them to the wedding. That's not happening. I'll never forgive SM. As for my dad, he's a maybe at best. But even if I ever do, I'll never forget what happened. We considered postponing the wedding, but the date we chose is the only one that works for everyone. All our vendors are password protected and have strict instructions not to speak to anyone else. Jane's family is much bigger and closer, so they're more involved than mine. Still, my sister's a bridesmaid, 2 of my cousins are groomsmen, and my mom is walking with the wedding party. Going through all this has made me love Jane even more. I couldn't ask for a better partner or co-parent. This didn't tear us apart, and for that, I'm so thankful. I probably won't post again until after the wedding unless something big happens. As always, thanks for the love. Update 3. I wasn't planning another update, but something major happened. Good news, we got the restraining order. Bad news, Jane and I had to see SM and my dad at the hearing. It was the first time we'd seen them since kicking them out over a month ago. We left the kids with Jane's brother and sister-in-law so they wouldn't be exposed to any of it. The hearing went faster than I expected. Credit where it's due, Dad seemed to know they had no chance. The evidence was overwhelming. Nanny cam footage, photos, medical records, and all the texts and emails SM sent. My sister saved everything. SM hates phone calls, so it was all in writing. They didn't even bring a lawyer. The judge granted the order. SM can't come within 500 feet of us or our home. We're changing the locks this week, and I'm considering getting a new phone number too. Leaving the courthouse was the first time I felt safe in weeks. Jane nearly cried when we got to the car. We picked up the kids and met up with Bill and his family at McDonald's to celebrate. Hours later, my dad called. The order doesn't cover him, so he's still allowed to. Jane and the kids were already asleep when he did. I told him I didn't expect him to suddenly change his mind and apologize, but I decided to give him one last chance. He tried making some awkward small talk, but I asked him to get to the point. He asked if the restraining order was really necessary. I made it clear. SM is never going to be around Jane or my kids again, and I was glad I had a legal order to make that official. Every excuse he gave for SM was easy to shut down. She only hit him once, yep, and that's already more than enough for me. The kids need their grandma, she's not their grandma. My mom is. Jane is my wife, and he needs to respect her. SM attacked Luke. She disrespected my family in our own home. I don't owe her anything, especially not my respect. Then he launched into a rant about how SM had been a blessing to our family and how much she'd done for me and my sister. I responded by listing every moment I could recall of her lying, crossing boundaries, or acting unhinged around me, my sister, or my family. I brought up both recent and childhood examples, her trying to take over our milestones like our wedding, our son's birth, Jane's baby shower, and my sister's graduation. Her obsession with having a perfect family, her sick attitude toward Luke, and her habit of going through our personal stuff when we were younger. That last one might seem small, but it only stopped when my sister moved out 3 months ago. We're pretty sure she found out about Jane's wedding dress appointments by snooping in my sister's planner. Some memories are hard to explain, but they drove the point home. SM means nothing to me. When he brought up how SM doesn't feel included, I shut that down too. I told him he had the chance to protect his grandkids, and instead, he chose his monster of a wife. That was enough for me to cut him off. I hung up without saying goodbye. My sister told me he called her right after. She told him she's going no contact too. We're both starting to accept that our dad isn't going to change. It sucks, but he's made his priorities clear, and his children and grandkids aren't one of them. For now, that's all. The memories are still fresh, and I've been thinking about sharing the stories I reminded him of, but that'll take time. Until then, thanks as always for your support. Commenter, she only hit him once, would have ended the call for me. OOP, I almost hung up right then too. The only reason I didn't is because I knew I wouldn't be talking to him again anytime soon, and I still had a lot to say. Commenter, I'm curious how your stepbrother is handling this. A judge issued a restraining order. It's not something you can just brush off. OOP, I haven't spoken to him since before the RO. He hasn't reached out to me or my sister either. Last time we talked, he was still in denial, but he seemed unsure. Honestly, he's the only one who might still come around. He's still banned, but I'd be open to a conversation. Commenter, I'd love to hear the stories about her hijacking everything. Hope the kids are okay, especially the preschooler. OOP, Luke hasn't brought her up in a while. I know it affected him, but I think he gets that it's over now. The baby's just over a year old, and if I have my way, he won't even know she exists until he's an adult. I'll definitely share more stories once I'm ready. Commenter, it's wild that the court gave your dad a chance and so did you, and he still managed to blow it. OOP, that was his last chance, and he wasted it. If he ever comes around, it'll still be a long time before I let him back into our lives. Update 4. After being engaged for over 2 years, Jane and I finally got married last Saturday. We're still getting used to calling each other husband and wife, but it feels amazing. The wedding was great. The kids had a blast, our extended families met, and we danced so much I could barely move the next day. Luke took his job as ring bearer seriously. He held our son's hand as they walked down the aisle. Aside from my aunt getting wasted and needing to be wheeled out, which I kinda expected, everything went as planned. It's been 4 months since the RO against SM. Things have been pretty quiet, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I wasn't too worried about her showing up at the wedding. The RO makes it illegal. We made it clear we'd call the cops if she tried. My friends still urged me to take safety measures, which I did. SM didn't show, but I believe any money spent on safety is money well spent. My stepbrother and I exchanged birthday messages, and he texted Jane for hers in June. That's all the contact we've had. He knows the door's open if he wants to apologize. As for my dad, we haven't spoken since April. He's still trying to contact my sister, but she's ignoring him. After one big fight over the phone about SM, where he sided with her again, she told me about it crying. I wanted to call and yell at him, but she asked me not to. She's doing okay now. She hasn't blocked him, but doesn't answer his calls or texts. He sent a weak apology on my birthday and a long rant after we didn't say Happy Father's Day. He's still our dad, and I'll always love him, but I can't be around him. The door's closed, but not locked. He knows what he needs to do. I doubt he'll do it, but if he ever tries, I might crack the door open maybe. That's more my wife's idea. She hasn't forgiven him or SM. Jane's always been protective of Luke, and this whole disaster really shook her. Part of me was afraid she'd blame me, but she called me a dumbass when I said that. I've been in therapy for a few months now, and it's helped more than I expected. I've realized that SM's behavior growing up was way worse than I thought. Getting this off my chest has made a big difference. Right now, I'm just incredibly happy. I married the most amazing woman, and I have the family I always dreamed of. We're not perfect, but I never imagined life could feel this good. I'll stick around. Reddit turned out to be more than I ever expected. I can finally sleep peacefully now, so this is probably my last update. Thanks for all your kindness and advice. I could never have imagined the support you all gave me, and it helped more than I can say. Seriously, thank you. Edit. 3 days later. Okay, I updated too soon. I didn't want to make another post, so I'm adding this here. My stepbrother called me today. He and SM had a fight, and he wants to meet up. I agreed, as long as it's just the two of us. We're getting coffee Wednesday. I don't know what to expect. Even if he apologizes, I need to know he truly gets how he let us down. New update. Hey guys, I've been away for a while because of work, but people have been asking about my stepbrother. So here's a quick update. We first met for coffee back in August. He and SM had argued, and the restraining order came up. She lied about a lot, saying Luke bullied the baby, bad-mouthing Jane, and more. But this time, he pushed until she told the truth. He started reevaluating their relationship, talked to a therapist and his friends, and realized I wasn't exaggerating. He wanted to reach out in June but didn't want to distract us before the wedding. Since August, we've been rebuilding our relationship, meeting up, talking things through. Jane started joining in around October. 2 weeks ago, the kids saw him again for the first time. It was a little awkward, but we're good now. He's also making things right with my sister. In early November, he cut contact with SM for good. Jane and the kids are doing great. Luke turned 5 in September, and the baby turns 2 in February. Wild. We're spending the holidays with Jane's family in Brazil while my stepbrother stays with his girlfriend. Things are good. That's it for now. I'll keep you posted if anything major happens. Happy holidays to all of you.